When I said it was going to be a reptile road trip, I meant it. We checked out Brian Barczyk's The Reptarium. So I'm just going to get off and say this right now. I'm only going to be talking about my experience here at the Reptarium and speaking with him and his staff there. I didn't check out BHB. We didn't have a whole lot of time to really do it. So I'm only going to be talking about the Reptarium, his reptile zoo. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it. It's pretty cool. It really is. For a reptile zoo, he has a really nice selection and variety of reptiles and animals, and they all seem very well cared for. It was actually really cool to see all of them, and it's everywhere I walk around, the animals look great. They're well cared for. The enclosures were either clean or being cleaned, and every minute of the time that I spent there, stuff was being worked on, and it was really cool to see it. And you know, being around all these famous YouTube stars who are much more popular than me, like Perdita and then Karma. I think Karma too, because I think the first Karma passed away of old age or something like that. It's hard for me to keep up. I don't watch all the videos, but it was still really cool to see all these really cool animals that, in all honesty, there were even a couple that I had never worked with or handled in person, like this 100-flower rat snake, which I've talked about in several other videos about like the Asian rat snakes and cool oddballs and things like that. So it's really cool to play with this brand new snake that I had never actually interacted with before, and he was really chill too. I know a lot of the Asian rat snakes can be a little high-strung, but these guys were he was pretty chill, and it's not like he was cold or anything. He was just a chill little rat snake. And it was really fun to actually play with one of my dream species. So, but with that being said, and yes, we did also see Drogo the Sloth. We didn't pay for the feedings or anything like that. We did give. I will be totally transparent, and we did do a small private tour, just for half an hour, fairly inexpensive, and we got to get a little more hands-on and have a little bit more time with some of the more interesting species, like I think Ben and Jerry here, the two-headed Cali King snake, and some other really cool animals like Perdita and things like that. But it was just really interesting to see. And I mean, they had a lot of other ones. I think you could have like private time with Brian and Noah and everybody else like that too. But when we were there, actually, Brian was on his way out of town for it. Actually, I don't think it was for his most recent trip down in Florida. I think it was for another one or something like that. But the very small amount of time that we actually had to speak with Brian was actually really cool, and I'll get to that in just a second. I wish that that could have shown off a little bit more. We just missed the crocodile monitor that we had that was kind of in honor of a really great guy, Forrest, who we unfortunately lost a couple years ago now. And the reptile community really be missed. But with that being said, like I said before, they have an amazing selection of reptiles. I mean, most people in the hobby and on YouTube, we kind of follow Barczyk a little bit just to see what he's doing, and what new things he has, things to be talked about, because, you know, like him or love him, and I'm not really going to get too much into that in this video either. He definitely is a trendsetter of all things, good or bad. But, you know, like I said before, at the Reptarium, in the actual reptile zoo, everything looked really cool, and it was really fun to see. Salt and Pepper, the albino and the melanistic alligators, his really cool hybrid iguana, the blackheads, which supposedly his blackheads are just about as happy and go lucky as my blackhead, wink wink. But it was just a really cool, interesting little experience with all of the fun little animals. And like I said, I've been to a number of reptile zoos, you know, in Washington and South Dakota, a couple ones here and there, and I've seen some pretty cool little private collections as well. And his is, I would say, on par with being the top of a specific reptile zoo. Everything looked great. All the animals looked great. Nothing looked sick or dirty or unhealthy or all the things that people like to throw his way. It looked really good. And I know it's, you know, it's public facing or whatever may have you, but I brought it up a little bit before. When we first got there, we were kind of running behind because, you know, it's been the non-stop road trip from here in Colorado out to Pennsylvania to pick up our puppy, and Detroit was one of the last stops before we made it to the end. So we were running a little bit behind just because that's how road trips work. So we only had a small amount of time to actually talk with Brian, and the little bit of interaction I had with him is that he was a genuinely nice guy. He, complimented the shirt that I was wearing. We absolutely threw him one. Fingers crossed he'll throw it up in a video further down the road. But just he showed us some of his baby ball pythons that just hatched out. I think he featured him in a video too. It had absolutely no problems with us videotaping or recording anything in for both the private tour and during the public hours. Absolutely no problems at all. He didn't ask, like, what's our YouTube channel? He didn't question, he didn't pry, he didn't get defensive. He literally went, hey, it's really good, Nate. It's nice to meet you. Like your shirt. That's really cool. Hey, I really appreciate it. Yeah, that's really cool. Hey, I like you a lot. Feel free to record whatever you want. Anything you want. That's totally fine. If you want to talk to these guys, you totally can. They'll answer whatever questions they have for you. And that was it. Like, there wasn't really a whole lot more that we really talked about, and I mean, I know it's a public-facing reptile zoo and it's a business and, he has to be nice, but you could tell it was kind of the end of his day and he was tired, but he just seemed genuinely enthusiastic about the animals, about meeting another person who was into reptiles, even though I'm sure he meets 100 people a day at this point. And all of the other staff that were there too that we got to talk to outside of our little private time, just during the general populace, they seemed really cool, interesting too. There were a couple of us that got kind of chatty with some of the oddball species that we keep, the interesting stories about the ones that they have there, about the blackheads not being super fun, about the different 100-flower rat snakes that they've kept, and just kind of like little stories about some of these guys that may or may not have been shared on Brian's channel. Like I said, I haven't watched every single video. It's hard for me to keep up with that. I do my best to watch as much reptile content as I can across the board to see what people have going on. Oh, sorry, just really quick, that albino Australian rat snake, just absolutely cool. I love those guys. Sorry to break away from my little monologue here. I just wanted to talk a little bit more about these. They're just really, really cool. But again, you've seen most of these animals before on his channel before, so I feel like I don't really need to sit there and talk about every single little one that we see on here. But it was just kind of really cool. And then, after, and here we go, the Diddy and Dixie Kong of the rhino iguanas, they were really cool. Once again, I really wish, you can definitely tell that, yeah, they do have a lot of interaction, but they're very habituated and used to handling and genuinely like the interacting, especially with like the green iguanas and the rhino iguanas. Like with mine, I can tell while I would like to, give as much time as these guys clearly have interacting with them, you can tell that they are much more used to and accepting of people than even like mine. Like with my two green iguanas and my rhino iguana, only one really likes people. And even then, she can be kind of moody about it as well. Here we go, just this little Mandarin Rat Snake. I'm not sure how often he was ever featured. They didn't bring him out because he was in shed, but it was really cool to see another Mandarin Rat Snake. I feel like they're starting to get a little bit more popular again too. And then I had to show the Bolin's python. Obviously, they didn't take it out. Got a little bit of stuck cypress mulch there at the bottom. But they obviously didn't take the Bolin's python out. And I've actually had a chance to interact with a couple Bolin's pythons in my time of messing with reptiles, but his looked really nice too. But, outside of all the people sitting there, we're just kind of, chit-chatting and talking a little bit about reptiles, about what they keep and what I keep and all like that too. Once we got into the main public hour, we still had to like reserve times to get in for like ticketed entry because it's very popular. They can only have so many people in, OSHA safety and all that stuff. So when we came in and we were just watching around, and forgive me, I don't really want to show any of the kids because while the parents didn't have any issues with it, it just seemed a little off to me to be showing off kids' faces like that. So you'll have to excuse the pixelation. But we were just hanging out, and I was talking to a lot of the staff while they were talking to the other to the other just guests there, and a couple of them thought I worked there too, just because and I'm sure a lot of you reptile people out there too, whenever you go to a zoo or something like that, other people, just like Joe Schmoes, will hear you talking, and they just assume that you work there or that you're a zoologist or something. I don't know. That happens to me a lot of the time, and I'm assuming it happens to you guys too. But it was really cool to sit there and them genuinely care and interact with both people answering questions. They have a lot of the same answers I do for a lot of the same questions. And then it was really fun to see the different feedings of the alligators, of the tortoises. They see, as we see here, their big black throat. They were seeing if he wanted to come out. They didn't force him out, which is always really nice. Elvis, the big water monitor, was running around. I think that was Dixie. Yeah, Bella didn't want to come out. But Dixie came out, and I think Diddy did too for a little bit. And they never forced any of the animals to come out. They would offer it, maybe offer a little bit of a food treat reward, and then they would come out. And then, as you can see, I'm not the one petting him. He's just hanging out with some of the staff, and they just genuinely appear to enjoy that. You know, we don't know everything about reptiles. We're still learning a whole lot more about them every single day, and it was really cool to just see them interacting with that. And again, sorry for the pixelation of the kid. Something feels kind of sketchy to me, you know, without, like, everyone knew that I was there recording it. And yeah, obviously the foot spa, we had to talk about the fish foot spa. And everyone knew that I was recording, and they knew I was doing a YouTube video, and I spoke with some of them, but it just felt a little off to actually, you know, have the kids on camera without, like, waivers or, like, express consent and stuff like that. There was no issue with what we were doing, both with Brian and the staff as well as the people there, but it just kind of felt off again. Sorry, I'm going off a little bit of tangent about that, but here's a really cool, that's their African egg-eating snake. Very huffy, and I'm sure he's talked about it in his videos before. They don't actually have teeth, so he's just really hissy and huffy. Really cool Jamaican boa. I absolutely love these. They're so cool. Hey, Reptile Barn, let me know when you guys are finally up. And then, obviously, I got to play with another very special YouTube star, Verdi, their baby green anaconda. She was really cool and chill. Nicer than some of the ones I'm used to. Matilda, the Aldabra tortoise. I got a little bit more of the Aldabra tortoises than anything, because my partner really loves Aldabra tortoises. Every time that we see one, she always has to run over and give it pets and scritches, because that's what she loves to do, and they usually seem to enjoy it as well. But Matilda, I think, was just kind of done for the day. We kind of had the last few, and then I can't remember the name of this, the albino Nile monitor. I think it's like Chicken Nugget or something like that. I can't really remember what his name was, but he was really cool. And like I said, Elvis was out roaming around. And, you know, they just opened it up, and he just wanted to go for walks, and he was just cruising, roaming around, checking people out. Every once in a while, like, someone had to, like, let go and make sure he wasn't getting up to anything, while they had, like, the big constrictors out for the kids to play with and things like that. It was just kind of really cool to see, you know, just regular interaction that these animals clearly have on a day-to-day basis. Yep, see, there we go. There's me hanging out with Elvis, and some of the staff are just talking about Elvis getting up into things. He likes to try to go into the turtle pond sometimes. But yeah, it was just kind of a really cool experience. And like I said before, kind of at the beginning of this, I didn't actually check out BHB where he does the breeding and have the racks and everything like that. You know, just the reptile zoo itself looked really good. I mean, I know he's very transparent about the zoo and cleaning and everything like that, and I'm here now to say that, you know, we all have our opinions about people, and, you know, being the most prominent figure on social media comes with a lot of scrutiny and criticism, no matter which way it goes. But I can say this now personally, firsthand, when I went to check out his place, it looks good. It really does. It's an amazing little place. I know he's planning on adding more and doing more expansions for, like, Salt and Pepper to get larger enclosures, because they're alligators. They're going to get bigger. I know he's always, you know, he's definitely come a long way with talks about, like, every single large snake has large enclosures, plenty of places to stretch and move and climb and perch and bask. And I know, like I said before, I know he's planning on doing more expansions. I think he's building a second story and adding, like, part aquarium too, but I know some of these guys are also going to be moving up to larger enclosures and stuff like that too. So, you know, he's definitely learning, taking initiative from, like, the early snakebite stuff that, you know, and again, in all honesty, we all got into reptiles a little bit because of him, at least with us new people like me, that were always interested in it but didn't realize how crazy the world and the hobby was outside of there. But and then obviously Cupcake the boa, because we have a Cupcake the boa too, because I just, you know, had to talk about that. His Cupcake didn't want to come out, and my Cupcake doesn't normally ever want to come out either, but it's still just a really interesting, really cool reptile zoo, and I think it's worth a trip out there. If you're ever in the Midwest, I think it was only like $10 or $12 or something to get in. And I think it's kind of worth it. It was really cool to see all the really cool, interesting reptiles, to see the habitats. And if you're interested in education and learning, sitting there talking to just the general public with the staff about reptiles and educating and things like that, that might have been the best part of this whole trip for me. Because, there's not too many reptiles that I haven't seen at this point. But just seeing everyone kind of ooh and ah and ask questions and be genuinely interested. And yeah, there's, some of the cool little oddities and things like that. But I thought it was really cool. You guys should absolutely check it out. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll check you next time.